Recording now.
So, last we left off, everyone had approached different people about the things that they wanted to learn and things that they needed to hear. Things that perhaps needed to be said a long time ago. But that's not where we start. We start with a young pink-haired college student who has been briefly introduced before and is currently working, or at least used to be working on something she was rather interested in. Iris,
Hello?
you don't remember falling asleep. In fact, you barely recognize that you are asleep when you know that you're not in the same place that you were before. It is not cold, not hot. It is not light or dark. It's the feeling of dusk during autumn. And it is almost comforting. It's almost as if you're in some place that you shouldn't be, and yet you know you have to be here. And there is a swirl of green that encompasses your field of vision. Green all around you, green in front, below, beneath. Everywhere that you can look, there is only green, and you cannot find a face. And for a while, all this continues, and you don't even hear a voice. You don't even hear anything, aside from the whirling of fabric or maybe thin scales. A body loosely resembling fabric, loose and yet ever present.
What? Hello? Who's there?
You realize pretty quickly that it is, in fact, dusk where you are. Even through the fabric or scales or body that's swirling around you, you realize something is blocking your gaze, and you don't hear the voice because it is like a whirlwind. Not quite wind, not quite air, but as if the very dirt and dust and rubble is moving of its own accord. And it is frustrating you not to know what you're looking at.
May I roll insight?
You can.
Alrighty. Try and determine what's going on. Well.
The first thing that registers to you is that you are, in fact, dreaming. But unlike every other dream that you've had where you recognize this, you don't wake up. You don't see the cool floors of your workshop. You don't see the decorated walls of the place that you spend most of your time when your father is away. You don't wake up. In fact, the whirling gets louder and louder until you can barely hear your own thoughts. And then you realize this isn't malicious, it's patient, waiting for something.
What do you wish of me?
Wish. And it's a soft voice, gentle and almost breaking that cacophony. Wish. I don't wish anything of you. Why would I wish something of children that the gods could not do?
I'm over 18, but she's definitely unsettled by this presence. Not afraid. Not as frustrated as she expected she would be. Just unnerved. Let me reface. What are you waiting for?
Make a perception check.
Okay. Ugh.
You don't see a face so much as you hear claws dig into rubble, and some scatter onto the ground as the whirlwind begins to fade. And that fabric, the body maybe, as you hear claws dig in, slide across rock and rubble and dirt, as you see an almost an abstract wonder of you've never seen anything like this. You see not a not a thing, but a person who shifts from draconic, long and winding, and all you can see is green for a moment. Green hair, green horns, green eyes, green sclera, green, the color of growth, the color of change, the color of nature at its finest. All you can see is green.
She sort of almost braces her eyes against it. Not in the sense of pulling away from that color so much as trying to adjust to it, trying to understand it. It doesn't work.
What am I waiting for? Is that what you want to know?
Right now? Yes.
Of course. So simplistic minded are the humans and those who are half so. When faced with eternity, they only wish to know the now. But yes, I am waiting for you to be a little more sound of mind.
Sound of mind. Forgive me. I don't claim to be able to understand eternity.
Not very many do. And unlike the others who claim to be speaking in my name, you of all people understand me the best, dear wanderer. And just in almost a serpentine fashion, this half dragon, half human almost, not quite either, moves from the rubble on the side to crawling and leaning up against a thing that should not hold its weight, but does.
What shall I call you?
That depends entirely on how you view me. I am eternity. I am growth. I am change. I am the end of all things, and yet I am nothing at all. But I see you have the reek of my cousin all over you. Well, not all over you like the others do. I'm sure
What?
you've met him, Aoi.
I remember the name, I think. It's hard to tell. Oof. The streaming state. She is a little disoriented as she steps forward just a tiny bit. Not enough to be disrespectful, just enough to understand a little better. Not trying, just seeing. So, if he's Aoi, then are you Midori?
The head cants to the side, large and draconic as much as it is almost human, in that uncanny way that most things that should not appear in the realm of mortality often are. And then just, if he is blue, then yes, I would be green. But does that make V, your darling destiny, red? I suppose yes. Midori will work.
Thank you. Of course, I wouldn't know anything about V. I don't know much about what's been going on at all. It makes me wonder why I was even addressed.
That is your role to play, after all, in this war of minds. I don't appear to many people. Many people often break at the sight of me. The fact that you have not, well, and one heavy clawed foot steps down, getting closer. Not within personal bubble or personal breathing room, but even then you can, it's not decay, it's not life, it's almost a
This
stagnation.
unbearable pressure.
Yes.
Iris steps onto her back foot. Doesn't step back, just braces against it. I can see you.
You can see me, as your mind can comprehend me. I am kinder than my kin, but don't deem me as lesser.
Never.
Then you are smart. I wonder, though, are you smart enough to save yourself?
What do I need to do? Can you tell me?
I'm afraid I don't dawdle in manners of fate and destiny like my cousins. They are too ambling to and fro. They often come about as when they're entertained. I don't dawdle around entertainment because that means you get attached. Myself, well, there's a few things you can do. First, listen. Ask questions, something you're good at, dear girl. But wanderer, watch where your feet take you. There's little to this world that has yet to be discovered, and things that are left to the wayside. Sometimes they are not meant to be wandered.
Understood. You are a very peculiar creature, if that can be called.
Creatures are for things that are capable of death, that bleed. If you'd like, you're welcome to ask a question while you still remain in dreamlessness.
Very well. I have to think about this.
Okay.
If my destiny is untraceable, is that why you took interest in me?
No. Your destiny is within eternity, which is why my cousin could not comprehend any of you. You are my children more than you are the children of your families. Not to say that you aren't, but you, specifically, dear wanderer, you are a child of eternity.
And I won't understand what that means until I do.
There's just a curl of a draconic grin, and even without a roll, you know it's not malicious.
While I am still here, is there something I need to know going forward? For the now?
for the now. And you see this being, this entity, eternity, Midori, curled to look away, not scrambling so much as shifting faster than your eyes can perceive, and starts to kind of shamble off somewhere else. For the now, get your friends to trust each other, otherwise they will die.
It is a tall order, but it is one I am hoping to fill.
If anyone can garner trust, it is a wanderer.
I see. Is that all you have to say to me?
If you were dreaming, is this where you would want it to end? Or is there something else you would like to know?
I don't know. Only time will tell, I think. And I don't have the time right now. Ah, one more thing. And she steps forward, almost reaching out. Alexios.
What of him?
Is he... Never mind.
No, ask. I'm curious to know where your head lies.
What is he?
What?
Not in the sense of the concrete. What role does he play?
Something that should never die. He's the light.
Fascinating. I will wait until you deign to return to ask about any others.
Patience is a good look on you, dear wanderer. I wish you well in your journeys. And with those words almost echoing, not booming or loud, just fading, almost wrapping around you, and you close your eyes instinctively as if this massive form of a dragon is encircling you once more. And you take a deep breath, and suddenly you cough, and it's you are awake. You are in your workshop.
Goodness. What a dream that was, if I could call it that. I should go to see them. And she gets up and walks out.
Who's the first person you go to see?
Arthur!
Arthur, where are you at right now?
Probably heading back to the dorm.
Say it again?
Heading back to the dorm.
Okay. Iris walks up to him. I don't mean to interrupt. Is everything all right?
Better.
Oh, that's good to hear. I'm thinking.
Take your time. I can actually set up outside of the dorms if you want, so you know where you're looking at.
She sort of shifts a little bit awkwardly. I know it seems like I've just been inserted into this story with no point, but I want to be there. Am I talking nonsense?
No, but you don't really need permission from me to do that.
Are you certain?
Absolutely sure. You don't need permission from anyone.
Very well. Thank you. She sort of puts a hand to the back of her head. Apologies for all this. I've had a strange night.
Yeah, it's been strange lately.
You could say that again. Well, if you need anything from me, I'll be there. Oh, yes, I wanted to tell you. I figured this will be information I tell the rest of the party at some point. I've developed a little technique. It's very volatile at the moment, but I hope it can be useful in combat.
What is it?
I have an item. It's a little charm, and she kind of gently takes the little strange fragment of something on her choker and holds it a little bit outward. It makes me stronger, and at the cost of my ability to tell friend from foe. So keep that in mind if I tend to use it. Keep me in check.
I'll be sure to look out for it.
Thank you. And she just skitters away.
Iris, this is actually your set of dorm rooms with Caesar.
Oh no! Which one?
So here's the fun thing about this. I need to get a better map for it because I can actually make one myself now. But there's currently a good number of rooms. Caesar has taken the topmost. Arthur and Lex naturally, because Lex can't fucking do anything apparently, is in the bottom right.
Okay.
It is. I assure you, Lance would be a cuddler, honestly, which is fine. So just go to the one you think is best that she would take.
Definitely this one. Where's my token?
That felt like saying bye to someone and then realizing you're going the same direction.
Yeah.
Is this Arthur's dorm?
Hmm.
No, sorry, I misunderstood. No, okay, yeah. Yeah, just this one. Ah, well, fancy meeting you here. She sort of jokes.
What a coincidence.
Is there anything you need?
Nope, just heading back to my dorm.
Oh, very well. See you then. So Iris is going to make a plan of action to tell everyone about the fragment and tell nobody about the dream so far.
It's fine. It's okay.
She'll do her own research later.
Arthur.
Yeah.
You step inside and two things occur to you. If Iris hasn't fully left yet, both of you would be able to tell two things. One, there's the definitive smell of baked goods from the rest of the dorm. Secondly, this idiot didn't rest.
For
Yeah.
goodness sake.
Well, you probably can tell where he is.
Yeah,
Follow the scent of baked goods.
Like a fucking hound in the middle of a cartoon.
Oh, he's following my dorm. Give me a moment. And she just sort of sprints after. Lex.
All I can hear is the clicking of like combat boots just getting closer.
Just gets into the door. Hello. What do you think you're doing?
Oof.
Just without looking up, Lex goes, "Oh, I'm making stuff for when people get back. I'm not allowed to leave the dorm."
I should hope you aren't. You sustained quite a bit of damage in that fight.
Oh, it's alright, I've taken much worse. And while he's saying that, Iris, you see a ton of really fancy cakes that only your father has talked about in passing of how expensive these are. Like opera cakes and
Theos.
like French, yeah, literally French aristocracy cakes and stuff like that.
Terrible. She sort of like frowns and just, did you get all this for me?
Get? And he tilts his head as he finally looks up.
Did you make all this?
Yes? Is that a bad thing?
I didn't know. It's just I didn't know you had the talent.
Well, I don't. This is just something I do.
This requires a lot of talent to make, I hope you know.
What do you
Skill,
mean?
too.
Just the most innocent look of what do you mean?
Oh, never mind. Thank you. I hope you're going to... I plan to share, obviously.
And then just as soon as Arthur gets into the doorway, that's visibly brightening, and then going, "Artie, you're back. I was outside. I would go with you, but you banned that."
Ooh. And what are you doing in here?
I'm cooking.
Baking.
Technically.
And not resting.
And not resting.
I think that counts as rest. I'm not doing anything strenuous.
Baking takes a lot of energy and focus.
Does
I
it?
would know. I would know. Yes, it does.
Are you sure? Just the most like just the most confused. I don't know what you're talking about.
Artie, can't you say anything?
Go back to bed.
Sorry, that got me.
I'm putting that in quotes.
And then just blink, blink, blink. But I'm in the middle of baking.
In my dorm room?
Yes, the Grandmaster. No, you see him visibly like buffer of just his own information got crossed in his head.
Oh, it's the oven, isn't it?
The what?
The oven! And she points toward the little brick oven in the back.
Oh right, yeah, and then skitters off.
Go to bed!
And pauses in the middle of his skittering and goes, "What do you mean? I'm baking." Just
I'll finish it for you.
Just the kicked puppy look.
Come now. If Arthur said so, I think it's important.
I guess so. And then just, I'm making these cakes that I used to make with my dad. So don't Well, I guess if you know how to make them, they're not that hard. But I have been banned from the kitchen for the time being, so I'm gonna go. Then just slink.
Obsessed with them. Iris is gonna go to where he left off and start like finishing up the cakes.
Yeah, they're full on like opera cakes and French pastries and stuff like that.
Oh my god.
And just, okay, I'm gonna go rest, Artie. Please don't cause a fuss.
Me? I've been causing a fuss lately.
No, but you have been almost dying, so don't.
Touche!
Oh my
Upset.
god. Good lord.
As for the commentary of how much time has passed, it is literally a day to 2 days, so they wouldn't be in the same spot as before. So, is there anything else that you guys would like to do or have a conversation with each other over?
Nothing that I can particularly think of? Or is it just between those two?
Oh, I'm
Well,
just
does any-
vibing.
Oh, does anybody want to go into the dorms, or is there specific things that you want to get done, other than what I've been told?
I don't even know where Tsubasa is right now. Just
Well,
gone.
do you want to be studying?
Yes. Tsubasa's been tucked away in his room this entire time, not the slightest bit aware. Should I go ahead and just put him there then?
Yeah, you're welcome to.
Okay.
Crimes and shenaniganery. Don't want any of these.
He's being a good student.
Naturally. So, Tsubasa,
Yes.
what is the first thing that you're studying?
He's studying about the conglomerate.
Ah, the fun little eldritch horror that you guys face.
Yeah.
So, roll. I know you have the book for it, so you have advantage on this. But roll investigation.
Okay. Roll investigation with advantage, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 13.
Even with you blocking out most of the noise, it is still hard to fathom that you encountered something that should have killed you and did not. Whether by sheer luck or whatever this oracle business has in store for you. You read up on something that is colloquially called the conglomerate. It is a simple term that basically describes a horde of soulless gathering together to make something of a body, something that could be passing as a human or a tiefling or anything else, just to feel like they are a person. And usually it ends up with something a little like what you saw on the grid. Not always, and true enough, as what Dr. Kyrie had told you, some are dictated as skeletal, others are more fleshy, and some almost look human if they weren't so massive, which is probably more horrifying.
Tsubasa just reading about this.
Similarly, there are other types of soulless that you learn about. They're not dictated in this book specifically in depth, or maybe you're just overlooking the material you need to read on. Which I will say, on a different day, you can try and reread this. You are currently a little flustered learning about conglomerates. Okay?
He made a mistake.
Yeah. So there are a good number of higher ranked or higher tiered soulless. One of them is the conglomerate, which is deemed as too impossible to take on by even a knight's standard of a high ranking. It is impossible to take on. It is just best to, as it states in the book, do not engage under any circumstances. Then there is the Quetzalcoatl, which is, you don't know if it's labeled as, because of the ink being a little smudged and some of it being repaired over and over again in this very old book that seems like it might have actually been written by Dr. Kyrie himself. But it looks like the Quetzalcoatl is on par with the conglomerate. It is just as powerful, just as fast, just as cunning. But it has intelligence. It has awareness. It has almost a human-like determination to get something. It is very goal-oriented for a memory-driven entity. And then there is one other that has very few documented proofs on it, and it's called a not and it's almost like you can't quite make out the script, but you swear it looks like dragon, maybe?
Oh. Also, Zan says BRB really, really quick.
Okay. Yeah, Tsubasa is just squinting at that. It's just like, am I reading that right?
If you want to, you can make a perception check with disadvantage.
Why disadvantage?
Because it's hard to read script.
Can I
Or-
inspire myself? Continue.
Or you can roll, what's the fucking, I can't remember. Not insight and not investigation. You can roll intelligence flat or perception with disadvantage.
So get a flat +2 and just have the one roll. Or risk getting a bad roll but have a +14.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what I'd do. I mean, it's not a terrible roll.
It's not. But I am taking base rolls into account.
Oh.
So even with a 22, because you guys are now level 5, I'm being a little harsher, like I told you guys.
Now hold on.
I'm baby.
There's like a specific DC, isn't there?
Yes.
Okay, so it doesn't reach the DC, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Fuck. Got it.
What I am going to give you, though, for that, because it wasn't too far off,
Yay.
is that it does say dragon. What type of dragon, you don't know. However, some of the script does say that the dragon has a soulless core.
Cool.
You cannot make out any other of the script.
Ah.
Hmm.
Tsubasa, making a mental note of that. Just, okay, so I need to look somewhere else for more information. Would Dr. Kayde know? Be willing to talk about it? Hmm. Is there
What else do
any...
you want to do?
Just gonna flip to the parts of the book that talk about the basics now. Just, alright, let's not continue with the scary stuff.
The basics that you can get without a roll is that mostly some of the stuff that you've already intuited. Soulless are light-based beings that function off of memory and will. They are essentially what happens when the pure essence of will and memory of a person find that person no longer suitable for what it intends to do. Similar to how a nobody and a heartless make up a person, the soulless is what gives that person personality and makes them less of a husk.
Okay.
So, in another thing, no, I'm not going to make you a roll for that. You also find the information of the soulless are much easier to reason with when they are away from one of their dictated generals.
Interesting.
If you're trying to find something specific, you will have to roll.
I'm not looking for anything specific, though.
I think that's all I'm going to give you without a roll, specifically because if I tell you everything that's in that book that you're not, because you are flustered over having read the scary stuff, it would be disadvantageous for me specifically to have any sort of secret.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, Tsubasa's just like, oh, that's too much for one day!
Good lord.
You said you wanted to go talk to the generals?
Yeah.
Do you want to do that in the same day, or do you want to try and talk to the people in the dorms?
Tsubasa probably would save talking to the generals for the next day or just another day. So yeah, eventually he will wander out of his dorm room just like, why do I smell baked things? Tweety birds.
And just see Lex kind of. Have you ever seen a person who is just very like got told by someone they care about to just go to your room, and is just unhappily sitting there with like the most displeased expression?
It's just he just stops for a moment before just wandering a little bit closer. It's just like, Lex, are you okay?
Yeah, just he sounds defeated.
Were you doing things again?
No,
Lex.
what?
Is that the reason why things smell like a bakery?
There's sweet treats out there for everybody. Yes, I'm making a joke of I'm a sweet treat.
Oh god.
Tsubasa
Treat. I'm a fucking delight.
Tsubasa just stares at him, and then after a moment just sighs and just, please just stay resting, Lex.
I'm going to keep those next words to myself. Go enjoy the things that I made. Yep.
Tsubasa, just get big puppy dog look. Like, what
No, don't do that to him. He'll die.
Just wait, what I do look?
Don't do that to him. Lex will feel bad.
I'm doing it to him.
He deliberately turns to face away from Tsubasa. I'm just like, please, no, God.
Oh. Alright then. Yeah, no, after a little bit, Tsubasa just goes to the kitchen, just like, alright. God damn it, Lex.
You fool.
Why are my
I
friends like
refuse.
this?
Go ahead.
Who?
No, I'm sleepy.
Boop.
Do what you like.
Suddenly, there's a child.
Oh, hello, Tsubasa.
Hey, Iris, Lex said that there were sweet treats in here.
Oh, there are. I've just finished some of them. Just hands a cream puff to him.
Just, here you go, and Tsubasa's just, oh, food. I have the sudden urge to roll to see if he gets any of it on his nose. Why am I like this?
Do it. Do it.
Okay, what do I roll? Dexterity?
Yes.
Just base dexterity, here we go.
Seems like you basically just avoided, but there might be like a dollop.
Absolutely. You have just the slightest amount on your nose.
Just the tiniest little bit, he doesn't even notice. Just nibble.
Oh dear.
Huh? Is something wrong?
You just have a little bit on your nose.
I do. And he just stops for a moment and just touches and just, oh. And then just licks it off his finger. Just. It's good. Tsubasa is shy. He doesn't know what to do now.
It's alright. I'm like not focused, so you can leave.
Eat more.
Yeah, the cakes are free to take.
Okay, he'll sit down at the table to eat. Just he takes a slice of cake and he eats it at the table.
So, hey, you want to know something about those cakes?
What?
Lex is a moron, and I love him dearly for the sole reason of, well, he may or may not have made several different kinds of opera cake.
Oh my god.
Do I need
And for anybody who knows how opera cake is made, that takes focus.
Was he focused?
Yes, he's always focused. That's the problem.
Tsubasa just looking at the opera cakes, realizing there's different flavors, and then looking it over at Arthur, and just has the look of, does he always do this?
This is why I sent him to his room.
This explains why he was pouting.
This explains why he was pouting. Be nice to him.
This is is nice.
I guess.
He's going to be huffy about being sent to his room.
Is there anything else you guys would like to do? Have a conversation or whatnot?
I've got nothing in particular, honestly.
I got it. What have you been doing in your room, Tsubasa?
Oh, I was reading.
Anything interesting?
Well, Dr. Kuri actually let me borrow a book about Soulless, and I was reading more about that. Seems like a really old book, too.
Do I still have that book that Lex gave me all the way back?
Oh, you remembered it. I was wondering if you remember it.
I've had it the entire time. I
Yes,
don't
you
have
still
it in.
have it.
Yeah. Soulless, you say? I may have a little book.
You do?
Yep. Related to the Soulless.
Just immediately, Tsubasa just sort of perks up, is just like, could I at least take a look at it, please?
You can. Yes, you can. The thing with it is it's not something you can read. As in, you won't understand.
Why is that?
It's just not.
Hello, I need to eat something or I'll die, so I'll probably be a little while.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. It's written in. Fuck. I don't know if. Okay, I'll just. It's written in what I presume is Soulless.
Mm-hmm.
Is Tsubasa aware that he can read it?
Is he?
I don't know!
Would
I
he
mean-
have actively tried to read anything that was written in Soulless?
If he ever encountered it, yes.
There's a couple books in the library that are written in Soulless.
Okay, at which point Tsubasa just stares at Arthur and just... Arthur, I can read Soulless.
Okay, then you and me both. Good. Then you can read it.
just like, alright, awesome, we're on the same page, boat thing.
Do you try and read it?
Tsubasa's going to try to read it.
Though you recognize the script as Soulless, for some reason you're having trouble understanding it.
Alright, then! Tsubasa's just... I mean, it definitely is Soulless. I can't... Just very confused noises from the small.
And read it.
I can't understand it.
Yeah, I remember when I read it, my head was a little, well, it was a little fuzzy, but I could, yeah, I could understand.
Weird.
So it's been a while since I read it. Could you hand it over?
Yeah, Tsubasa gives it back.
I'm guessing you're trying to read it as well.
Yeah.
You said that it was a little fuzzy at first, and that was true. It was one of your first time trying to read Soulless. And you look at this now after having read those passages over and over again. You can't understand them anymore, for some reason.
I guess it's not coming through.
Wait, can't
I
you?
wonder,
Are you not able to read it?
not anymore.
Just as they're talking about the book, Tsubasa slowly just scooches closer so that they don't have to keep passing it. And he's trying to take a look at the book again.
Same, not even a roll required, just the same, unable to be read. It's almost as if whatever is making up the book doesn't want to be read.
Hmm.
Hey Arthur, do you remember who you read that book around?
Yeah, King. It's I assume after that I couldn't read. There was an external force, be it that place I was at or him.
Huh.
By all means.
Well, the last time I could read this, I was talking to King.
Maybe talking to King again will help us read it again?
Maybe, but I don't know how he feels about me bothering him again.
He's saying it in a sort of joking manner, just like, I could always try, I guess.
I mean, if you want.
I mean, isn't the book yours, though?
Not
Arthur,
mine. I don't know who it belongs to.
how'd you get it?
Because Lex borrowed it.
From where?
I don't remember. I don't think I was told.
You weren't.
Tsubasa's just taking a moment to sit there, staring at the book, before slowly reaching over and picking it up. It's just like, okay.
Little thieves?
That is definitely his thought process right now. Just, my friends are delinquents. Anyways.
Like you're any better!
He has not actively done anything!
Well, neither is Arthur. He's just been complacent.
Point taken. But yeah, no, Tsubasa just picks up the book and it's just, I'll go try talking to King about the book and see if I can maybe at least read it. And then I'm going to find out where it belongs.
On second thought, I think I'll come with you.
Okay. Tsubasa's just like, I'm going to be doing this whether I'm going alone or not.
So you guys head out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we head out.
Do you tell Lex to stay put, or are you allowing him to come with you?
Tell Lex to stay put. Please, for his sake.
I'm gonna. Whether he stays there or not is not really. I don't know.
Tsubasa gives Lex the look again.
Don't bully Lex!
Before we leave, I'll just give him one of the pastries and he'll stay there.
You know, that might work. We'll see.
Maybe.
So we're gonna hop over to Helia. Helia.
Could I ask Cayde to mute while this happens because I can't focus past the birds in the background?
Okay.
Thank you.
So, Helia, the last time that you've been carted off in the manner that you were a couple days ago it's been a long time. You feel like a kid again and you wish you were. But as of those past couple of days relaxing in your old home with Auntie, they've taken you to their garden. And they're sitting with you, watching the distant flowers and the mushrooms, and some of them are a little off kilter, and there's a statue, and it's all so pretty, but you're not focused on how pretty and how lively it is right now, because you can't be. You're not in it right now. And Auntie just has you wrapped up in a hug with their chin on your head and going, "Sweetie, come on, talk to me."
That's what?
I hate saying this, but you need to talk to someone. Otherwise, all that guilt and grief, it's going to eat you alive.
So what if it does?
Sweetie, if you die, I get to bring you back and basically say, "What the hell were you thinking?" So don't.
I mean, I don't think I want to die, but I don't feel very good.
Losing someone you care about and watching them walk again, it's not easy. It feels like a part of you has disappeared and it's not coming back, whether you want it to or not. But trust me, it gets easier. You have to take the first step.
Don't want it to get easier, Auntie. I want him to come back.
And he will. He will. Valkyr is a smart boy. He's only staying away for a reason, and you know that.
I don't understand.
Not everything is meant to be understood. I know that, and eventually you will too.
Don't like it.
No one ever does. I certainly don't. If I could know everything in the world, maybe everything would be a little bit better. I promise. You'll be okay. And Helia, you rarely hear those words uttered from Auntie. The words "I promise." They're binding. Soul binding, even. So for Auntie to outright say, "I promise you'll be okay," it lifts a small weight off your shoulder, not a huge one, but it gives you some measure of reassurance that someone as ancient and powerful as your Auntie could experience the same grief and still understand yours.
Just sort of turns her head and, like, pushes more into Auntie, trying to hold on to them just a little bit tighter.
They return that hold to a point where it feels like for anybody else it would be a crushing weight, but for you it's comforting. Their strength has always never hurt you, never given you any sort of discomfort. It has always been a sort of weighted blanket of memories and dreams. Because that's what they are. They're a walking daydream with the power of nightmares, and all they do is protect you with it. And though there's a moment where you wonder, why didn't they? Why haven't they stepped in? Why haven't they done anything to help? And it makes you frustrated for a little bit. And you want to say something. But all Auntie does is nuzzle into your hair a little bit, as if knowing your thoughts, and going, everything will turn out all right. I swear.
But it's not all right now, when now is the me that's hurting.
And the now that's hurting, the you that's hurting, it will never stop. And I'm sorry that I can't fix it. I'm sorry that you have to go through this, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that the grief that is inside of you outweighs the joy of the memories that you've made. But it gets easier. And I know you don't want it to be easier, you want it to end. But it won't. Not now, but it will. All you have to do is take the first step.
I don't
You have to try.
understand what you mean.
I've always been a little cryptic, my dear girl. Do you want me to be honest?
I don't know.
Auntie pulls away slightly, not loosening grip so much as shifting you to see their face. And their eyes are slightly glowing as they ask again, do you want me to be honest?
Don't know.
The glowing stops and they hold you close again. When you figure it out, when the honesty of what happens and what will happen and what has happened, when you can figure out the honesty yourself, then now you're always welcome to come home. If it's too much, if you can't do it, you're always welcome to come home. Because after all, you of all people know that home isn't a place. It's the people in the place, the way you decorate, the way everything smells. Home is not a place. It's a heartbeat.
I know, Auntie, I know.
And I think that's enough serious talk for a little bit. This is getting aggravating, and you know I don't like that very much. And just reaches out and like, boop, on the nose. Listen, do you want to go back inside back home? And make your favorite dishes?
I guess.
I know it won't be the same without Valkyr, but maybe. Maybe it'll spark your curiosity to learn why he's gone. And without putting you down, just stands up to their full over 7-foot height and just starts walking away with you in tow. Is there anything you'd like to say, Helia?
There's nothing that I can think of.
At the edge of the garden, they stop. Sometimes your heartbeat of a home, sometimes it leaves. It's what you do to get it back that matters. It's what you do that matters. Are you going to stay still, or are you going to run? You don't have to answer now, and you don't have to have the answer immediately. But are you going to stay still, or are you going to run? And then keeps walking. And Helia, whether you reply or not, or keep those words in mind to whatever end you see fit, you settle into the grip of your auntie, who's been really your parent for as long as you've known them. And you find a strange comfort in the fact that, yeah, you don't know what's happening. You don't know and you don't understand. It is so frustrating. You hate it. But there's a comfort in knowing that you can always come home to talk, whether it's talk about what's happened or just talk. Because sometimes all you need to do is talk. And that, at some point, is going to have to be enough. Who wants to go next? If Zahn doesn't immediately try and kill me. Or die in the process, I guess. Lance and Razz, do you want to have your moment with King? Or is Lance actively going to go see his boyfriend?
What
What did I do? Raz, what do you want to do?
I know that I did have the thought that Razz was probably out training, probably with King, because she wants to know more.
So, Raz, around the same time as when you saw King the first time you asked him about, training with him, you're out there again. You're out during sunset and you're out just training. And he doesn't say much when he's teaching. And he's just observing, he's just, paying attention. And for what it is worth, he doesn't seem to be unimpressed. He seems patient, almost uncertain, but he is there and he's paying attention. What are you aiming to learn from him?
I know she was super interested in how he sent away the Gloom dragon, but no, I know that's not like an immediate thing, but
Mhm.
I'm thinking that she probably wants to learn whatever skills he has to offer, basically. Whether she's hitting a tree and he can show her how to hit it better, or if it has something to do with how you know what I mean, just like any of her skills, because he's been around long enough to know what works. You know what I mean? Right now, she's probably just showing him what she actually has like available.
Do you actively say you've been around long enough to know what works?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Unintentionally calling him old. Gotta love
Yeah.
it. He pauses for a moment, in the midst of him half teaching, half watching. Are you calling me old?
I mean, it wouldn't be inaccurate if I were, right? Right? Right?
You're not wrong, no. You're...
Respectfully.
Yes, respectfully. I am far older than most people, but I'm younger than... Well, I suppose I can't answer that. You... Razz, yes? Uh, you are an interesting sort. And I mean that in a respectful way. And he's almost kind of half-cocked smirk kind of grin.
Poking back.
Yeah. You're... I don't know how to describe it, but you have a certain presence about you. It reminds me of an old friend of mine. And
An old
roll insight.
aye, Captain.
Hell yeah, that's a good roll.
Juice.
As he says or mentions this old friend, there is a sort of wistfulness of someone who was in love. The sort of
Oh!
the sort of distant grief of someone who has lost a lover. And you in Razz apparently reminds him of them.
Is it someone you would want to share anything about? Like, what upon noticing the grief, also, grief has a way of softening Raz up, where in a lot of ways she's a little pointy, if that makes sense.
Like a cat.
Yeah, but the like, it makes sense that he's lost people. He's only been around forever, but
Stop
just
calling
seeing it.
him old. He looks good for his fucking 2,000 years old.
Well,
But what does Raz say?
is that someone you'd want to share about? Someone keep alive through memory?
I don't know if I'd be able to, I'm afraid. You know Lance, yes?
I do.
He's a stubborn sort, also reminds me of someone I've lost. Always willing to tackle the rough challenges and try and save the day, even if it meant he's not at the end of it. And I'm sure well, I think you've already met one of them. So... And what... He's never actively been wielding a keyblade when he's teaching you. He's only ever briefly summoned little motes of dancing lights, or some version of a sort of flame ability. He's never truly given the effort to summon a keyblade. And you don't know if he has one. But at this point, he does summon two daggers. Two twin-bladed daggers. And he looks at you, Raz, and kneels down from his pretty decent height and goes and holds out one of them. Do you take it?
Yeah, yes, but like, whenever like someone like will reach at something and like expect it to be hot and like not touch it, like not that she's expecting it to be hot, but like that sentiment of hesitation because she doesn't quite know what it is, but
Right.
if he had any ill will, she wouldn't be here right now.
Truly. And as you reach out to touch it, that little, not spark, but feeling of a spark across the arm that you reached out with. It doesn't go all the way up to your shoulder, but it's almost an electrical feeling, like you got too close to a socket after kind of dragging your feet across carpet or wool. And then he says, "Listen, I'm not going to hurt you. These are my keyblades."
There's definitely visible awe from that statement, especially since one of them are in her hand right now. She's like staring at the one in her hand like, whoa.
As you hold it, it's almost, you almost forget to breathe for a couple of seconds because there's the feeling of warmth in the middle of a summer day right outside of an oceanfront view, and you don't know how you know it, but it is the laughter of a woman in gray. There is the grumbling of a man in silver, and you don't see any visible images, but you know what they're wearing. You've seen them time and time again, and yet you haven't. You've grown up with them, and you've never met them before. It is a feeling that almost, actually, do you drop the Keyblade after seeing so many images that don't make sense?
No, she's trying to hold on. She's trying to be stubborn about it, despite the urge to drop it.
You see, or rather you feel the rocking of a ship, an actual ship, not a gummy ship. You feel the rock of a sailboat, and then you feel the rock of a, bigger ship, and then it is slowly gaining traction into a gummy ship that's meant for both, seafaring life and for, God forbid, flying out to the distant worlds. And then you hear the encroaching voice that has no words, but you recognize as another old friend of yours. And yet, you've never met this person before in your life. There's laughter and song and dancing and cheering. And then there is a cacophony. There is buildings crumbling and people running. You hear yourself, except not. You're panicked and you need to run. But you can't. You're bound to this place. You have to run. You have to run or you will die. And the person that you swear is looking back at you when you finally open your eyes is not King, but the White Queen. Then you blink. And it's King again, and you've already dropped the weapon.
I would like to note that with the blink, I feel like Razz probably notices that there are like a few tears burning in her eyes because in that duality, it was also familiar from her life as well as living in that like obscured memory. Like she's definitely shocked whenever the knife is no longer in her hands, but she's like, oh. Oh.
And he picks up the other dagger, lets them both fade into a sort of mystic light, and then proceeds to stand back up. That is why I don't share most of my life with anybody. A keyblade is bound to the heart. And for me, to share my heart with people, it means they get hurt, injured, sometimes they die. And I don't want that for you, even though you seem to have been rather stubborn about seeing most of what I've been through.
I told you I wanted to learn from you. That means learning about the hard stuff, too.
There's nothing more difficult than the process of grief. And learning when it is time to run. So, do me a favor? I'm going to show you how to do something. And you only use it when you're absolutely dead certain you're supposed to. Alright?
A nod, cause she's, slightly speechless, not entirely. There will be more words. There have been words, but, like, just the nod.
And he makes a gesture with one of his hands over the other, and 3 little sparks of very bright light that you swear you saw Lex cast. Except they're brighter. They seem stronger. They seem terrifying. Just glaring to look at and horribly, almost for light, it almost seems demonic. And then he makes this swish of a flourish with the hand that has the lights in it, and like throwing daggers at the speed of light. He sends those careening into a nearby tree that cracks and breaks and shatters into multiple pieces like being struck by lightning. That is a spell that I made a long time ago. I'm the only one who knows how strong it can get. You have to trust me when I say, do not use this version unless you absolutely have to. But I will teach you it if you want to learn.
I do. There's
Alright.
like a little bit of the the initial fear. Like she's suddenly reminded of why this guy is so scary. Like it's such an interesting duality because just a moment ago was so humanizing, so vulnerable, and then this is like big. This is like it's not like the same like shaky into like fully intimidated as the first interaction, but it is the oh wow that could kill somebody.
So, with this interaction, I want you to make a note of 2 more points with King.
To me, that
And before I continue on, how's everybody fucking feeling about that one?
um
Murder is an
Nia,
option.
Nia.
Who?
I
Who are
was
you murdering?
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
apparently.
feeling pretty fucking good.
I feel like Nia's gonna try and kill me at some point.
I mean,
I am taking a brief break to get some water and whatnot.
okay.
But how did you guys feel about the Keyblade and stuff?
Fascinating.
I'm feeling a lot of things that she got to hold that keyblade and have that direct link into some of his experiences. That's like a lot.
Oh yeah,
Positive a lot, but oh,
but yeah, that's how I roll specifically Keyblades of the Heart. Because they are made from your will to do whatever summoned them in the first place. They will show the memory connected to summoning your Keyblade.
something being stuck about wanting to run as a motive, delicious, so yummy, well seasoned.
Nia, how you doing? Because I knew you had the spicy deja vu earlier. Do you want to do your a little bit before we...
Did you get your water?
Yes, I've gotten my water. Okay, so Nia,
Yes.
where would you have taken Killian? I didn't forget his name.
You definitely forgot his name, didn't you?
No, I didn't. Do you want to go to the cafe, the library? Where do you want to go?
Well, I'm guessing there's like multiple libraries.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, wait. Is there like a cat cafe on the Academy World?
Why would there be?
I don't know. I thought I'd ask.
What am I supposed to do with you?
Cherish me.
Something.
So that's a no on the cat cafe.
There's a restaurant on campus with a personal like area for you guys to chill, I guess.
Restaurant it is then.
So, notably, when you offer to go to a restaurant, an open place that obviously doesn't give much in the way of privacy, you reassure your boyfriend that things are. This is a different style of restaurant. This is where people go to relax. This is where people go to study. This is where people go to just talk. And though he's hesitant at first, he does eventually give something of an understanding and allows you to take him there. Do you say anything while you walk?
I'd probably like ramble a bit about this short story that is being worked on.
He just
Involve-
looks at you and goes, "What are you working on?"
So, you know these typical knight saves a damsel in distress stories, yes?
Generally speaking, yeah.
So, what if the knight was both damsel and dragon and knight all in one?
That's going to catch somebody's interest, but if you do it wrong, you will have people trying to flame you.
It's nothing I'm not used to. Criticism builds something. It builds. But come on, what's the worst that could happen?
Well, what's your idea?
So it's just a rough outline right now. But the protagonist was going to be either a Heartless or a Gloom. I couldn't decide just yet.
Oh,
You know,
why would you choose that specifically?
they seem like something that hasn't been done before.
Well, most people don't like Heartless or Gloom, so I would assume as much.
Well, they've been given reason to not necessarily welcome the presence of them, but what if there was just, like, think of it like the little engine that could type of situation, but with a Heartless?
Huh. Roll persuasion with advantage.
Persuasion with advantage. I'm scared to look.
I haven't seen it yet, don't worry.
She got a nat 20.
Yeah, that tracks. So, in your ramblings and your determination to show that this is actually a good idea, you get across rather easily that this is a story that could actually get attention. That this is more than just your average, damsel in distress. And true enough, it strikes the it strikes Killian as he's interested in it, but as far as you're concerned, you're wrapped up in this tale that is still a rough draft. And he's listening with almost bated breath, but not quite. And before you know it, Killian has already offered to pay for the restaurant going, as you are flagrantly talking and all sorts of explanations of why this should be this and why the protagonist should be this person or maybe he should be that person, and you're just going off on a tangent. And yes, he's listening, but he's also leading you down into the more comfortable version of a restaurant on campus that is mostly meant for teachers, but more and more students of fourth year and higher have kind of been, entertained by it. And it is quiet down here as it is the middle of the day. There's quite literally only you guys, so you can be as loud as you want. And your food will be coming from the top area, so. And Killian is starting to walk down the staircase. And just It sounds fascinating, honestly, but how are you going to start it? Because that sort of thing takes definite measures to make sure that people aren't. Well, I guess offense is not something that you're particularly, swayed by.
Well, obviously, I'd have to start at the beginning.
No. Alright, wise ass. He's quite softly smiling as he listens to you go back and forth with him. But he seems tense, even without a roll.
Just a gentle, like, shoulder hip check, but with the shoulder. Come on.
Shoulder bump.
Yeah, just shoulder bump. That's the word I was looking for. Bump. Yes. Just like, come on, what's bothering you?
That, that stuff in the arcade. It, it, I don't like the feeling of almost dying. I have no idea what happened, but I'm here, and my sister is always worried about me, and I don't want her to be anymore. And he just starts walking.
Well, I won't let anything like that happen again.
How do you know?
Because I won't. I give you my word. I won't let anything happen to you.
Roll persuasion.
Okay. Come on. Please don't fuck me over, please.
You got a 19 plus 10. You're good.
Oh.
So, after a second of considering your words and how little you are to actually give your solemn word. All right. You won't let anything happen now. But what happens when I leave? What happens when you leave? You can't protect someone forever without having them be by your side.
We can keep in touch. You only have to say the word and I'll be there.
And what's the word? Your name?
As cheesy as it is, maybe. If that's what you wish.
He steps up to you, Lance, reaches up and pats the side of your face and goes, "You are terribly cheesy." And that's coming from someone who knows Yeva. And just starts walking again. What do you intend to do, anyway, once you're out of the academy? As he's walking.
Oh, might go travel, see the world.
Anything caught your eye?
One thing.
And he takes a seat in front of the burning hearth, the burning fireplace, and just collapses down and lays back. So what's caught your eye?
I think you know. I think you're pretty familiar with it.
Oh? Do I? Just a smirk from beneath you.
I would hope you are. How many mirrors do you pass by?
Clearly not enough to know what you're trying to sell me.
How blunt do I have to be?
He's grinning like a fool. He absolutely is telling you to say it blunt.
Well, let's see. It starts with a K. I know that much.
Do you know the second letter?
I believe it's an I.
He takes out his gummy phone and starts playing the Kill Bill theme.
God.
You know for a fact he set you up to do that on purpose.
Just lets out a soft sigh before just flump, just laying halfway across the boyfriend.
One hand rests on your shoulder slash upper back, and he, I, I'm glad you got your keyblade, but it shouldn't have been in that situation. It should have been safe, somewhere you didn't feel threatened.
But it wasn't. Nothing could be done but, move forward. One step at a time.
I guess so. But what do you why do you keep asking me out? You know I'm older than you, right?
Well, why do you keep agreeing?
You got me there. You're such an idiot. You really are.
Yes, but I'm your idiot, aren't I?
Well, let's not go that far so quickly.
It takes one to know one anyway.
Sure, sure. That's what we're going with now, as if you didn't say the most cheesy thing in existence and you're rivaling my sister. And you laugh for a while. You laugh harder than you have in a while. And he's cracking jokes comparing you to his sister, and you crack back of, I don't think you want to date someone that's like your sister. And then getting the most like grossed out face of just like, no, you have a point. And you are happy. You are happier than you've been in a while, and for a little while, you temporarily forget that you haven't seen Persephone in a very long time. So, about this is where I'm going to ask all of you what you're doing for the next 2 weeks.
Oop. So we're not allowed to leave the campus, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Probably going to be mostly bugging Mr. Vortex because medicine only helps so much. And eventually just kind of move on to his auntie and the people he knows and just end up at Gwen, just like, hi, can you talk? Is it cool to talk to you?
Doesn't Tsubasa still have an oracle to talk to?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be trying to
Well,
find
someone
that.
who knows about one oracle.
Yeah, he's going to be trying to find that person.
I think my hands are full, so
What do you mean?
you know exactly what I mean.
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
I don't know what you mean.
Anyways,
So, who wants to go first for finding out things that they want to find out?
me?
Okay.
I want to do stuff.
So, Tsubasa,
Yes.
roll investigation because you are trying to find Vortex, and I've already established that he's a hard man to find.
Investigation. Here we go. Do. Nope. That's 5.
You don't find him for a good solid week, which is weird because he should be in class, and you check on him when he's supposed to have class, and it's always out to lunch, and there's nobody in there. And you don't know how that works at all.
Tsubasa running around just like, how is Professor Vortex able to do this shit?
Eventually, about a week into it, maybe the 7th to 8th day, you manage to find Vortex, though he doesn't seem to be on duty, which is pretty normal at this point. You don't know how he still manages to have a job.
Yeah.
And you're coming back from almost looking outside of campus, and you swear you should have seen him before, but no, he's just sitting kind of close to where the edge of the like barrier is for being safe. I'll switch to the thing. Give me a second.
Okay.
And you're just coming back from kind of searching around campus and the other sectors that you're not a part of. And he's just sitting there looking up at the stars because it is rather late when you find him. Even the stalls have kind of shut down for the night, is how late it is.
Is it almost curfew? Is there even a curfew?
Kind of yes, kind of no. As long as you don't leave the academy world, you're allowed to go as you please.
Okay. Yeah, no, Tsubasa sees Professor Vortex and just instinctively just sort of skitters closer in towards his direction. It's just... Wait, how exactly am I going to phrase this? This is Tsubasa, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Just, wait, excuse me, Professor Vortex?
Yes. Without looking at you.
pauses for a moment, just fussing before he's out of character. Can you remind me? Dr. Kuri had said that Vortex would know an oracle he could talk to, yeah?
He said he would know about oracles.
Okay.
Whether or not he would actually cooperate or be able to be found is a different story.
Yeah. We lost Vernal. Okay.
Vernal was struck with the sickness.
Struck down with the sickness. Anyways, yeah, Tsubasa just fusses for a moment, and it's just like, I was actually talking with Dr. Kuri the other day, and, he said that you could probably tell me more about oracles?
It's at that point that Vortex stops looking at the stars and looks directly at you. What do you need to know about oracles?
I think I had a vision. I saw some.
He pats the space next to him as if to say join him next to while looking at the stars.
And Tsubasa moves over and sits down next to him. And just,
Tell me then.
yeah. Well, it was when we were off world after everything that had happened, and we had gone to the grid, and I know that's not a safe place, but we didn't know it. We were asked to do something, and at one point I saw something happen, and I was able to stop it from happening before it happened. And when I talked to Dr. Kuri about it, he said that you would probably know more.
Vortex pauses, like visibly takes a breath, holds it for a second, then lets it out. Well, just because you have a vision doesn't mean that you're automatically an oracle. What did you prevent from happening?
Soulless had. What I had seen was a Soulless. It had gone to grab Miss Marina. And it was going to happen when she had stepped outside a door, but I stopped her from stepping outside before it could actually grab her.
So you prevented the loss of a life.
I think so, yeah.
Well, that does make you something of an oracle, which is a weird thing, as there's only supposed to be two. At least two active ones. Perhaps you should speak to one of the former oracles, I suppose.
One of the former ones?
Yes, it's documented that Grandmaster Gwen Gawain was a renowned oracle. She had a way of defying fate.
He mentions the Grandmaster, and Tsubasa just for a moment just
Just the, oh no!
just just I don't know if I could talk to the Grandmaster.
And why is that?
Well, doesn't she have more important things to do?
then talk to a fellow oracle? I doubt that.
Yeah, but you just said that there's only supposed to be 2.
And knowing the current 2 is generally a good thing.
Well, I mean, I don't know how I would. Do I, like, send her a message or.
You could just talk to her. She is visiting someone she cares about currently.
Ah, hmm. Okay, do you know where I could find her then?
You could always check with the person she's visiting. That is to say, the bard teacher for this sector.
Okay.
Sorry I couldn't be of more help.
Well, I mean, you told me where to go next, and that was pretty helpful.
If it helps any more for you, being an oracle is not a terrible thing. It's just straining on the psyche.
Alright.
If
Oh,
it's trained and if you have proper awareness of it, you should be fine.
okay. Thank you, Professor Vortex. I should probably get back to the dorm soon. Just looking at the empty streets.
You probably should, yes.
Um, good night. And he just continues on his way. He skitters away.
So who wants to go next?
What happened with the book?
What
Here's
did
the
Kate
fun
say?
thing about that. What happened with the book.
Oh.
You actually could not find King on the first day you looked for him. Because he's a bit of an elusive bastard. So, do you continue to try and find King?
Kuri had something to say.
What's that, kid?
Kuri had something to say.
It can wait.
No, no.
No. What did you want to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say that Caesar was looking for uh, Grandmaster Gwen a while ago,
Mm-hmm. Would have
and that
found her in the same places as that, of just anywhere you can see Dr. Saito, so you'd probably find Grandmaster Gwen.
Caesar will never be rude, so he's probably just been waiting patiently until their business is wrapped up, just from a distance. He's gone through. For the joke, he's probably gone through 2 books by now.
We're actually going to have that little fun scene.
Oh no.
I do want to say that after Tsubasa finds Vortex, if Cayde had not found King yet, he would help with not Cayde, Arthur. Fuck.
It happens. Don't worry about it. But we'll get to that in a moment.
For now, target spotted.
He's quietly reading. Doesn't know where he is. He's just been silently following, just like in full auto mode. Just like whenever they move, he just waits a couple minutes and then follows.
I'm actually fixing the map for this.
Okay.
Hey, sweetie.
Yeah?
Would you like to be a little gay with me?
Sure.
There's no little gay about anything with you two.
Yeah. Fucked.
So, I've even given you permission to move, Gwen.
Hell yeah.
So, these are. What am I missing?
These would not be that close.
Then move him.
Probably be like over here.
You're going to challenge the perception of God?
No, he knows. He understands the perception. That's why he knows that close would be redundant. The second the door opened, he was spotted.
The second he started following them, they knew.
Aaron leans
Love that.
over to Gwen and goes, "Do you think I should bully the poor little kid? I really want to just poke him, see what happens."
I think it would be hilarious if you did.
You know what I can do from this distance? Because he's just a little bit away from me.
What can you do, love?
Caesar, you feel the slight poke against your cheek from a mage hand.
He looks at where the mage hand should be. Does he see anything?
He sees the mage hand.
Mr. Vortex? I thought you had perfect invisibility. Wait, hold on. He's going
There's
Oh,
just a
my
series of
love.
cackling. There's just cackling.
He's just going
Gwen
to
and Aaron.
silently
Oh, my love, he's so dumb.
to
So
silently poke the hand.
The hand literally just reaches out and like holds his and just like, bro, you're mine now. It's the fucking arm wrestle thing. I'm just like, I got you.
Stares at it for the longest time. Kind of puts his other hand where the body should be, like behind the arm, where the arm ends. And the moment he feels nothing, tears start falling out of his face because he's like, no, I'm just missing. There's no ghost touching me. This isn't what's happening. No, of course not. Please, no ghost. Please, I will cry. And he's crying.
Oh my
He's-
goodness gracious, what is happening? Caesar!
Our nephew is not the brightest bulb in the bunch.
Not the sharpest crayon in the tool shed.
+7 wisdom, +1 intelligence.
Dude, me too.
Caesar, don't you know what a mage hand is?
Hasn't stopped crying yet. He goes, oh, thank God, the ghosts aren't real.
No, ghosts
That's
are
what you
real.
think.
Ghosts are real. Don't worry about that, though. That's none of your concern.
He just like starts making like the this is gonna kill somebody. Like the Teener Belcher noise. No, no.
Why are
Oh.
you so scared of everything? How are you alive?
I'm quite resilient. You don't have to be brave to be resilient. That and I'm
No, but that
incredibly
does
lucky.
sure help.
It does. No, it does. But to answer
Caesar,
your oh yes, yes.
I'm concerned that you're more made of paper mache than anything else.
Have you been talking with my auntie again?
Gee, I wonder if I talk with my best friend regularly.
No, that's not what. That's a fair point. Good counter. But I meant like she's been saying that a lot recently. I just wanted to know if you're where she got it from, or she is where you got that from, or and like he kind of has to physically stop himself.
The smuggest of looks from Aaron.
I'm rambling. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you too. You seem to be having a moment, so I'm terribly sorry.
Your whole life is a moment. What do you need, Caesar?
A
Sorry.
moment to recover from that. Damn.
Oh. Oh.
Ow, that hurt Curry. God damn.
Gwen did mean it in the sense of something is always happening. You should have just said something the first time you found us. What's up?
Uh, uh um, as you put in rule set, we need either express permission or a guardian of some sort to leave campus. Correct? Our little group.
That is for the whole campus.
Oh, I haven't met the rest of the campus.
Oh, good Lord, Caesar.
Should I
Why
apologize
do
or?
you need to go off campus? You do know it's on lockdown right now, right?
Yes, I do remember that. I was just there's something I would like to look into, and after speaking with Dr. Vortex Mr. Vortex enough times, I believe it might help with my current, and he just motions like I keep saying doctor, like Mr. Vortex said, just motions to his everything.
Well, yes, but that does not explain why you need off campus, Caesar.
Because the incident that occurred did not happen on campus.
So this is about what happened to you.
Yes.
Gwen just sort of looks at her and like, what do you think about this?
Personally, I think he's a fool. I mean, not in the most respectful way. You are a fool.
I've been getting that a lot. Is it really respectful at this point?
It's respectful from me. I don't call many people a fool. The only person I call a fool aside from you is my brother.
Ah. That makes Caesar immediately pause and go like, wait, hold on, there's multiple choice for that one. Don't focus
Yeah.
on that, Caesar.
There's like it's not even multiple choice. It's fill in the blank. Like
Inserts someone's name. That's not a brother. Not yet.
by the way, I was talking about Exville.
That's exactly what I was making the joke for. We don't bring
Okay.
him up here yet. That is a contagious soul. But Caesar's just still. It's almost like a soldier cadet standing at attention, just waiting an answer because he doesn't know how to relax just yet in front of them.
I swear sometimes I have to cast Calm Emotions on this kid.
I should probably learn that spell. Sorry, that was out loud thoughts.
No, I think you should. It's good for you. It helps you think.
Do you happen to have a scroll for that at the moment?
It's somewhere, I'm sure.
Okay, I can come back another time.
I do have to wonder why this is so important to you right now, you know?
Talks with Mr. Vortex have uncovered some questions I think need a lot more direct answers than soul searching can get me.
Like what?
Like if there's any trace of Caesar Harold in the alleyway where the incident occurred. A change. Something that would notify that Caesar entered the alleyway but never left. That I might find out a truth that I don't need, but it would be helpful.
I say this requires a persuasion check.
My screen, shut up. That's not a good omen. Persuasion?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Kurika in the distance. Persuasion.
Well, I moved my mic. That's a plus 13, so that's not going to be a good roll, is it?
What is it?
It's 19.
19.
What do you want from this?
Permission or something, or like at least some way that he can visit the area where it occurred so he can at least look for something. Whether it's the actual alleyway or whether it's for someone.
With that roll, you get a very, like, disgruntled look from Aaron. I
Yes, what?
don't know if I can do that for you specifically. You'd have to ask your aunt.
As of this moment, you two and Dr. Vortex are the only ones that know about my concerns as to if I am Caesar Harold or not.
I see.
There's. Yes,
Did I stun Caesar with that one from Aaron?
Yes, he just had the moment of yes. It's Juliet fucking Harold. I don't want to be the one that might bear it to her that there's a high chance her nephew's dead. Or whatever the fuck I am. And if, it comes out that I'm not him, I'm the one that's been wearing his face for so long. I don't believe I would be the best person to converse with her.
I'd argue that you are, and that there's also a chance you're having an identity crisis because you experienced an extremely traumatizing event.
That's why I need the
Again, you are a
answers.
fool.
Yes, I know. I'm a fool, but at this point, I just need answers.
Aaron looks directly at Gwen and goes, "It reminds me of Ace."
Good, I'm not the only one.
What the fuck does... Sorry about my French, but what the fuck does that mean? Isn't that the person who... With my auntie... never mind. Not asking that.
Oh, if you want to ask, you're welcome to. That man is my brother.
I'm good for the time being.
Are you sure? I love talking about Ace. He's an idiot.
Absolutely.
Just grinning ear to ear, just like I'm going to scare this kid into talking to Jules at some point.
And Gwen is going to let it happen.
I mean, you could always talk to your father. I can give him a call.
No, 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 no.
No?
Mm-mm.
No? Why not?
After my mother's, or Caesar's mother's passing, every
Oh,
memory with my
please, not this
father,
again.
it just memories with my father or his father
Nope.
seem
Stop.
yes.
What's with all the higgledy-piggledy about his, yours, theirs, ours? Like, what are you doing?
Because it is a waking nightmare of me not being certain, and I don't feel like actually crying here, because it would be hard to keep this face if I did.
One, you already did. Two, the problem there becomes, are you not still loved? Who you are is who you decide to be. It doesn't matter your background, your history, anything like that. You are you regardless of who you believe you shouldn't be.
Caesar takes a deep breath, unable to find the right words, and simply nods. I
If you need to take a break, I can always take you to one of my brother's, places. It's very quiet unless you visit Mikey, but that's a problem for someone else.
I believe that is not necessary.
Are you sure you're crying a lot recently, and I'm very worried about you, even though I make fun of you?
I can't answer that. I don't have the answer to that, but I wish I did.
You're so serious. Are you okay?
I
That's a
don't
no.
know.
Never mind.
Yes.
No, you're not okay. It's all right. It's okay not to be okay. That's a
Trauma
lesson
does
I
that
had to
to a
learn.
person.
Uh, yes, fucking. Ugh. Just the immediate. uh, from someone who just remembered their father.
Gentle kiss on the cheek from the wife.
Just the and then just kiss and. Look, sometimes you get dealt a shit hand, really. But it's not the hand that you have, it's the hand that you exchange in for yourself. Yeah, if life's going to fucking try and fuck you, fuck it back. What are you doing?
Caesar's going to try to think of an answer to that, and then all of a sudden, in his own mind, hears, I mean, it's pretty good advice. You should take it. And he's just, nope. I thank you for your time. I believe I should be on my way. I deeply apologize. And is going to try and head to the door quickly.
Aaron's not gonna stop that. It's just a moment of smiling, like, distantly.
Yeah, there's a small cut. Like Gwen cups hands around her mouth and yells, "Go talk to your aunt, dumbass. She loves you."
Wait. He stops, and then the door opens again. If I'm Caesar's mutated nobody, am I still a fucking herald, or am I somebody else?
Yes.
Yes.
Really?
Look at me and
Yes.
tell me that those idiots wouldn't adopt you. What we
give me
do,
a
we
moment.
adopt children.
He just stumbles back in, sits on the stairs, and goes, "Okay, but you have to understand my fears. If she takes it the wrong way, and I know you two know she won't, she can lift a fucking Honda Civic at me like it's a pencil. I'm scared of her."
Jules has too much love in her heart to hurt the child. And I mean, even if you're not Caesar, which you probably are, you're probably having an identity crisis, at least somewhat. Even if you're not Caesar, you know, she cares about you. And it's not your fault.
And then he just starts mumbling, "I'd love to find out whose it is. Nope, not opening that can of worms. Thank you, bye. You two have your lovey-doveyness." And, like, immediately closes the door behind him, just like, "God damn, I have fucking issues." And he does not mumble that. That is out loud.
I would like to note as Caesar was leaving, Gwen did once again yelled, "Talk to your aunt, make some friends, make good life choices."
Cool aunt at the party syndrome.
With that being said, Caesar is just gonna go, "Fuck, I've got to go talk to Auntie."
High five, Aaron.
And he is immediately going off to do that and completely ignoring what time it is.
Hey, sweetie.
Yeah,
You want to know a thing?
sure.
The little gentle high five turned into kissing the back of her hand.
Yay.
Yes,
Stop
very.
with the gay.
Mother
God damn.
charmer.
I have to make things silly because there's so much weird shit happening in this fucking session. So who wants to go next? What are you doing? We can technically end here if you want, because it's been 2.5 hours.
I still wouldn't mind trying to talk to Juliet. I have done nothing this entire session.
That's true. Is there anything that the group would like to do?
Is there anything that we can do?
At least as a group.
There's plenty to do as a group. You could catch up on things that you've learned.
That is true.
That's a fair point.
Tsubasa has not been super secretive about the fact that he is looking for information and he's keeping track of information.
So what do you want to do?
I'm cool with whatever.
I am also cool with whatever, especially if it is just a group sitting down and chatting. Do we want to do that?
Everybody make sure that they're not muted.
I'm down with whatever. I was just muted. As soon as you said muted, I was like, yeah, that's probably what happened.
I think I want Vernal to be here for the like overarching stuff.
Yeah.
Also, my caffeine wore out.
Go rest. We can
Yeah.
end it here.
We can end it here. All of us did get at least a little bit.
We all got some screen time.
Do 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 do.
So in that case, I will go ahead and I will stop the recording.
Yeah.